Hey everybody, Charley Egan here of the Egan Group at Hall & Chambers Real Estate. And this is another one of a series of videos that I do when I bring in vendors and service providers that are in my network. And they're really good people, and they give a kind of a perspective on some aspect of real estate or financials or something like that. And I wanted to introduce you today to Alex Leu of Penniall & Associates. Mm-hmm. And Alex is a friend of mine, and on the side note, he's also a cyclist and an instructor that I take a class from. And he's got an incredible amount of energy, not only in his personal life, but I know professionally as well. And he's younger than me, of course, and I want his take on, I'm going to ask him a series of questions, but primarily just the financial markets today, what he sees happening, and a few other questions. I would just take maybe 5 or 10 minutes to go through this. So I wanted to share this with you. Alex is a great guy, and I just wanted his take on things. So Alex, why don't you tell us just a little bit about how you got into being a financial advisor and why you're passionate about it.
So I got into the business because of one big thing. So when I was in high school, I took a stocks and investment course. I graduated from La Cañada High School. My mom teaches at La Cañada High School. She still teaches there today. She's a math teacher. And I got in the business because in the stocks and investment course with Dennis Ballard, who still is in the community today, basically set up a class where we had this hypothetical $10,000 that we could pretend to invest in the stock market, and whoever performs the best, kind of a portfolio competition. Mm-hmm. And you got to remember that my sophomore year in college is 1998. I graduated in 2000, mm-hmm. So you very much are living and breathing the dot-coms and the tech bubble. So I quite simply thought the concept of being able to put money in one place in a company, just because you think it's going to be a good company and they're going to sell good product or make more money in the future, and you can benefit from that. You can see $10,000 turn into $20,000, or you can see $10,000 turn into an extra $1,000. The concept of doing nothing and just participating on these companies' success because there's the public markets was just unbelievable to me. So when I finished up that class, I went to my mom and I said, hey, I'm going to be a stockbroker when I grow up. Okay. So I kind of thought about that in the back of my mind, got into college, and then it slowly kind of drifted away from me. I thought maybe I don't really have the mindset for it. Maybe I don't have the technical skills because I'm not a big finance, nitty-gritty analyst type. I'm more of a social butterfly, so to speak. Mm-hmm. But then I picked up an internship through Morgan Stanley, and Dan Collada at Morgan Stanley basically said, look, to be in this industry, it's not all just about brains. It's about working with individuals, understanding what they need, teaching them what you know about how to benefit and participate in the market. It's not about sitting down and breaking apart every single stock and all the balance sheets. And that's what a financial advisor does. I see. You know, you're not an analyst. You're advising the people and helping them navigate not only the market, but other big things like estate planning and insurance needs and stuff like that. Kind of fell in love with it there, and as soon as I graduated college, I applied to one place. I didn't interview anywhere else. I just called downtown LA, Morgan Stanley, and they were in a hiring freeze because the dot-com bubble had burst, essentially. And they hired me first and brought me back on, and that's where they started bringing on employees and trainees again.
Cool. Okay. So, all right, that's interesting. So, when you have someone come into your office, I know there's couples and individuals, but is there a general sort of process you put them through in terms of evaluating what their needs are and then guiding them?
Yeah, I think this is an important thing. So when you have an advisor and you sit down with an advisor, the first thing that I kind of caution prospects, clients, whoever, when you're going into this interview type process, is it's very easy for me to just look at your statements, say, show me the account that you're thinking about. Let me look at the statement. Let me break it apart about why this investment philosophy or ideology doesn't work and why mine is better. And just start there and try to convince you that you should just move that money and start using me as an advisor because I'll invest it better. And I would say that should be the red flag for people.
Oh.
what you should be looking at from an advisor, and what we do and what I do with all clients is, I want to know more about you. The reality is that, if all investment strategies yield the same results, the best financial advisor is going to be able to actually deliver tax advice that saves you money, insurance advice that saves your family, insurance advice that might help you from being sued. So when I'm interviewing and meeting with clients, the first thing I want to know is the family dynamics. I want to understand more about you. What are your goals? What are your aspirations? It's the hokey, touchy, feely type stuff that some people don't really like it. I kind of force people to go through it because it's the real important part of working with an advisor.
Right.
So rather than have this more technical type of approach, I have a more personal approach.
Yeah.
I try to understand the family. I try to understand what they're trying to accomplish. And then we really start with the planning first. We try to figure out, what are you trying to do with all these different pockets of money? So you were saying, pick out a success story. And like I said, the success story is an area that most advisors don't really focus on. So when we work with clients, most of our compensation comes from the portfolio. That's what a lot of advisors want to focus on, because that's where most of our bread and butter is coming from. But what we do for clients, and when I'm going through this process with clients of my own, I want to know what insurance do you have in place? Life insurance, disability, health, home, auto, and match that up with the household. And one of the things that I view as a success story is, we had a client that came to us, and when we were going through the planning process, what we found is they had the California basic limits for auto insurance, which basically means that if you hit somebody, you have $15,000 of coverage, $30,000 if there's two people in the car, and then $15,000 of property damage. So we live in La Cañada, you hit an S500 at every corner, you're basically out all of your personal assets if you destroy a car like that, because the insurance is just not going to cover it, and you're going to be sued. So we brought this up to her and said, essentially, look, your auto insurance is too little. You have a multi-million-dollar estate here. You have a lot of liquid assets. If you hit somebody, you're going to get sued, and they're going to go directly after your personal assets, especially if these limits are really low. So one of the things we focused on is, let's bring up the overall coverages on auto insurance. We recommended that you add an umbrella policy that would add as a blanket over to protect the additional assets that she had. And 9 months down the road, lo and behold, she was at the Vroman's parking lot. She backs up into a person. The lady falls over, gets up and says, look, everything is fine. You don't need to worry. I didn't get hurt. No problem. Okay, they part their ways. About a month or so after the accident, she gets a notice that she has had a claim filed against her. The person was a doctor. She was a physician. She used her other contacts within the physician, her doctorate network, and said she injured her hip. She is incapacitated. She can no longer walk. She has letters from other colleagues that say she has irreparable damage to her hips.
Wow. And
she tried to sue for $950,000 or so against our client. And at the end of the day, what ended up happening, even though it was a frivolous claim, she actually did get a settlement. She got a settlement for about $700,000, all of which was covered by auto and the umbrella policy working together. So I feel like in that scenario, that's a huge success story, because we just don't know when silly stuff like this is going to happen. And it's very easy for me to just say, well, that's not going to do anything for me, so I'm not going to provide advice on that. And that's what we do. That's different, is we really look at all the aspects, all the unknowns, and try to say, look, if you're going to hire us as an investment manager and as a financial planner, we're going to build this plan and this shell around you to protect your assets. Because asset protection, it doesn't matter if I can double your money. If I can double your money in the stock market, but then you lose it all because I didn't tell you to get an umbrella policy or have the appropriate coverages here, it doesn't matter.
that would have been just devastating, fatal for her.
No, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, they wouldn't have been able to recover from something like that.
Yeah.
And they wouldn't have been able to defend themselves. And they would have spent a ton of money on attorney fees and all those things.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I mean, it's those little things that make
Yeah.
the big difference. It's not just about
Yeah.
which stock you buy.
All right. Well, thank you so much. I will include Alex's information along with this video. It'll be linked to it, so you can get a hold of him if you'd like some help from him. And again, thank you so much for checking this out, and we'll be back with another video sometime soon. Thanks.
Thank you.